Hey, True Believers, Chris Mack coming at you today with Interdimensional Issue 1. This is from Bad Ink Studio, and I found this through TikTok. The creators go on there, and when I found them, they do really cool tutorials teaching you the tricks of the trade, how different color palettes can affect a scene, different ways that you can use dialogue balloons to convey, whether you're trying to talk in like an ALS, is it ALS, American ASL? Yeah, I think that's right. Anyway, different ways you can convey that with dialogue and the use of visual storytelling, all that good jazz. And the fact that on top of, digital artwork, which is used in the field now, they made it a point to try to implement as much traditional work in this craft as well. If you love psychedelic work as well as psychedelic sci-fi and heavy metal magazine, this is definitely going to be up your alley. I kind of showcased it when I went over how to draw the Marvel way, but think about that. Is that not something that you would see in heavy metal magazine? And it looks like a painting. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they said that they used painting as much as they could. I bought issues 1 and 2. And I love that they kind of give you swag, so you get cool stickers. And I haven't scanned the card yet, but that's the cover of issue 2. Cool stuff there. And then, of course, their company logo, which says Bad Ink Studios, good books for bad minds, bad books for good health. And I just love that little bit of a play on Akira. I think is where they got that from the pill jacket that, what's his name? Canada, however you want to pronounce it, wears in the movie. Anyway, that said, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Ordered it on their website, so I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description if you guys want to pick this up. And yeah, it came pretty dang quick. I was very thankful for that. And I mean, look at this artwork. Sorry for the glare. But just very trippy, very 70s style. Now, one thing I wanted to, before we get into the book, I love this oversize. So, like I said, if you like heavy metal magazine, this is kind of in that vein in terms of magazine styles. So if you put up like a regular comic book, look at that oversizedness. It is awesome. The only downfall to the bigger ones is they don't fit in regular long boxes. So if I continue to read this series, I'm going to have to get those magazine-sized short boxes. Now we can dive into it. This is like an anthology series. So there's like a main story and then like a short follow-up story of something completely different, but I think it's all in the same universe. So in a sense, it gives you kind of that world building. I could be wrong. Feel free to make fun of me down in the comments. This first one's called An Island to Match Your Dreams. And this is Evan Schultz doing the script, colors, and letters. Lydia Roberts doing the layouts, the pencils, the inks, and the sound effects. And just right there, I love right off the bat. I mean, look at the attention to detail, the traditional shading, and you just get that grungy dystopian feel right off the bat. And you laugh because you open up on this guy being smashed by these aliens. It says astronauts are just basically scientists with 20/20 vision. Researchers with low resting heart rates. Studious, observant, introspective. Astronauts on a mission are just a collection of introverts crammed into a tiny cockpit, suffering constant thoughts of, I want to be alone. Which is why this is all so magnificently cruel. Endless irony. Finally alone, but never alone. And again, two things. It's Evan that I follow. Well, I follow both of them, but Evan's kind of more vocal one on the techniques on TikTok. He says that in terms of script writing, comic book writing, if you want to try to really work your hand at it and how to break things down, study script writing or screenplays, which is kind of what I did in college. And so I love the use of all the different camera shots, kind of going for a mid shot, wide shot, to a close-up to show that this man is thinking, and he's wearing this funky uniform, as you see. We get a flashback. He was on a spaceship crew. Beautiful artwork. I just love how, you know, they're floating in zero gravity. Something happens that makes the ship crash. And here, this is just definitely something you would see in heavy metal or, again, a sci-fi magazine. In a sense, it just has that very Star Trek look. These explorers lost on a planet. Something happens to bring these monsters in, and chaos freaking ensues. And you just see the fear in their eyes, which brings us to finally realizing who this explorer is. He's found a way on this planet to live amongst these beasts. And he says that they're very sensitive to sound. He has to be very mindful of everywhere he walks and just tries to observe. Now, when I was talking about how to convey dialogue, he bumps into one of the monsters. You see blood spills, this find together. And look at how, compared to the dialogue that we saw with the humans just a moment ago, see how this is choppy, colored another way to kind of give it that other feel, like something you would see like Venom talk. And also the fact that he does not know the language all the way, so there's missing gaps. So we don't know everything yet. But going back here, in terms of the visual storytelling, we see tap, dink, dink. So we see that the tapping that this monster is doing is how he communicates. And because this is a scientist, he goes, me go, bad go. He's trying to communicate. And it's just a very great way of not overusing dialogue or the thought balloons, as I call them, the inner dialogue. And just look at this artwork. I mean, my goodness, all the shading, the color palette to show very otherworldliness. It just grips you and brings you in. And we get to a reveal, which I don't want to give away, but just look what happens to these humans, how they start to look otherworldly too, which brings characters into having to basically change from the regular scientists, discoverers, explorers that we saw into what this character has become. He goes, finally alone, but never alone. Always alone. And that's where that story essentially ends. And look at the lettering. I mean, this is just like stuff you would see out of old school books, 70s, 80s, early 90s. Great work in how all that is done. We do get another story, the Echo Map, which is the planet we see here on the back cover. And we're following this woman. And she goes, this place has exotic smoke swirls mixing with the haze of cigars. The smell hits you the second you push aside the beaded curtains. Every bead on those chains fits the same thing. Shells of aliens, long annihilated, subtly manipulated out of existence by superior beings. So she thinks, in a sense, that she has a hand up on all these species that she's come across. And she goes, let's fuck up a whole planet. And this one just, you go into a roller coaster, just not knowing where to go. And I mean, look at the way the dialogue is just moved, like you're just flowing with the story. Vroom, vroom, vroom. And it just leads your eye to each panel until you come to a disturbing realization at the end. But even if you don't quite understand what's being conveyed story-wise in this one, just the visuals in and of themselves would be something you just want to pin up on your wall. The different color palettes of greens, reds, blues, everything to convey the story. Everything at their disposal is used in this book. I had an absolute blast reading Interdimensional Volume 1. Can't wait to dive into Issue 2 and see what's in store in that book. So if y'all have enjoyed what you've seen, I normally would say support your local comic shop, but these are not sold in comic shops yet. So please make sure to go check out Bad Ink Studios' website and pick up issue 1 and 2, which is currently available on their website. And it's cool because on top of the cool swag and whatnot, they've actually mixed a soundtrack for this. And it's kind of that synthwave sci-fi feel, and it's on cassette. I thought about going that route, but I don't have a cassette player, and I was like, maybe I'll revisit that someday. But nonetheless, Interdimensional #1, awesome. Please support these creators. They are doing great work, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And if you guys have enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little sci-fi bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.